starting on a new notebook today.
Ooh.
The last one I started when we rewatched Genesis of the Daleks. That was season 12. This is about 28. So that these things last a good while. So I get this slight feeling this might be the last of the notebooks. So it'll probably last me 6 years. So anyway.
Yeah, one of my Facebook memories came up, and it was a black and white thumbnail. So that was back in the first or second Doctor. And it was Invasion? I don't know. It may have been with the Cybermen or something.
Yeah, I think so. It's a long time ago. Hey guys, Alex and Dan from 7th Hour Films back again with Doctor Who. Last time around we had Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. What were those about?
Well, there's this library planet, but there's somehow a young girl connected to it, and the library keeps saying that all of them are deleted, but some of them are saved. Anyway, it was a very confusing thing. And the Doctor and Donna show up on the planet, only to be creeped out by moving shadows, which aren't theirs. And then an archaeological team sent by the family that built the library shows up, and one of the archaeologists named River Song apparently knows the Doctor, but he doesn't know her. And then we begin slowly to figure out somehow she is either a Time Lord herself or somehow connected, because she has met the Doctor in a later incarnation, which is why she knows him, but he doesn't know her, and she produces his own sonic screwdriver to prove that she knows him in a future incarnation. Anyway, it turns out that the moving shadows are actually some kind of plague.
Microscopic organisms that can, in enough quantity and aggression, can shear the flesh off of a bone in, a split second.
Kind of like piranhas.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they managed to save the day. I've forgotten how. This was a week or so, 2 weeks ago.
They essentially, now we're actually back from our vacation, by the way. They essentially got everyone out of the planet. The Doctor made a deal with the Vashta-Nerada to just say, hey, give me a day. I will get everyone out of here, and we will close off the library, never to disturb you again. And the Vashta-Nerada agreed. They got everyone out, and now they will just live in the shadows of the books, basically. And as well as the computer core of the planet where the girl's consciousness was, where the Doctor was also able to save River and all of her crewmates who had perished there. So they still exist. They are still technically alive, just within the computer of the library planet. So, and the Vashta-Nerada will just, exist peacefully on that world. So, but yeah, it was a very interesting episode, or pair of episodes. Probably one of, a lot of people will consider that probably some of Tennant's best episodes, specifically. So, and the funny thing is, we are now moving on into what is also considered one of Tennant's best episodes. Now, the funny thing about this episode, because I've been really looking forward to rewatching this episode, because I actually didn't care for this episode the first time around. And it's for a very specific reason, and I will be curious if you catch it. If not, it's fine, because it's a bit of a contrived reason that I had. But it's a good episode, and I want to watch it again. But yeah, it's like it's one of those. It's a good episode that I don't know. Obviously we'll get to it.
Okay,
we'll get to it within the episode, but I want to put that out there, because I did get into a little trouble the first time around for not enjoying the episode. But it's one of those of like, I kind of stand by it, but at the same time it's like, well, it is still a very good episode. So, and also this is where the great meme of the channel came from, where a character says aluminium, and I corrected and said it's actually aluminum, but that's okay. And that's I essentially like split the comment section in half. One half was the people that were mad at me for not liking the episode, and the other half was the people that were mad at me for insisting it's aluminum. Now, back when I said this, it was a fun time to be had to say aluminum, and everybody, and I could tout American supremacy. It's not really that good a time to be doing that anymore, so I'm just going to say it's just for fun. It's just a bit of fun. I don't actually... It's fine, obviously, the way you say it, though, is the way you say it. It's just funny. I remember I had a lot of comments from people saying that there's no element on the periodic table that ends in that doesn't have an I before it, like aluminium. And there's so many people that insisted that. And then I thought, what about platinum? And I looked it up. They don't say platinium or anything. They just say platinum. So I was like, I don't know. It's just a funny thing. And obviously, we've talked about this on, God knows how many episodes of this show. We could probably... I'd have to go back and find them all, but I could probably make an entire half-hour compilation of every time we talk about aluminium and how the British have an extra letter. There is a YouTube channel called Lost in the Pond, and it's a British man who moved over to America, and his entire channel is just about differences between British and American culture, and it's very good and interesting. I'm sure he's done an episode about why the Americans, drop so many... I mean, it's like color. We don't have a U in color. We don't need it. It's just color. So anyway, that's the two big things about this episode is A, I didn't care for it the first time, and B, I pissed off all the British people. So
I will say, when I first arrived in England in 63, the changes in the spelling and everything, I had already kind of experienced that because I had read extensively and read a few British books, and you see that and you just look it up in the encyclopedia and it tells you why. It's the different words for the same object. It's like in the United States, you want to go from one floor to the next in a building, you take an elevator. Then I found out that in London that's called a lift.
Oh yeah.
And what we would call a truck, it is sometimes referred to as a lorry.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it took me a while to get used to it, but,
there was another, is from the Lost in the Pond YouTube channel, where there was one thing where, in Britain, when you go to a place with multiple levels, the ground floor is called the ground floor. Which we sometimes call it that, but we just call it the first floor. But the thing is, when you then go to the floor just above that, there they call that the first floor, whereas we would call that the second floor. And I thought about that and I was like, that's really weird. And it's a thing of, in Britain, obviously, that's just how it is. The first floor up is the first floor. But there's a part of me that's like, I don't think that works necessarily. Obviously it works for them, but I was just like, I don't know if that's a change that makes sense. Maybe that's a thing in America, they were like, that doesn't make sense. Call it the second floor. And then that just sort of happened, 300 years ago, and now here we are. So
it may have been the fact that the British had multiple story buildings before we did. Long before we did.
Maybe.
So
I don't know. It's just little things like that. I mean, it's the only other place. I mean, it's really three places in this world where it's like the dominant language is English. It's here, the UK, and then which I'm lumping all the UK together, obviously, but the UK and then Canada, and even Canada is half English, half French. So it is such a strange thing because we see all these as Americans, we see all these other countries, and it's like, well, they're different. It's like, yeah, and they also speak a different language. So then when it's like, we look at, England or something, it's like, well, they speak the same language, yet they aren't like us. What a weird thing. And so it's just fun to point out all these little differences between us.
Read a
Oh, and Australia. I almost forgot Australia.
I was about to say.
And New Zealand.
I read a book many, many years ago as part of learning from my history classes, that British, the native English language is a compilation of, obviously the Viking influence and the Norman influence and so forth, and Latin influence. And then in the United States and Canada, there's also a huge amount of Native American. Australian has a huge amount of Aboriginal. So the languages are, no language is constant except for the dead languages. Latin doesn't change, as we've discussed many times, including the episode on Vesuvius, Pompeii. But the language is constantly changing as we take over other people or integrate other people's cultures into ours. It also integrates parts of their language into ours. For example, one of the strangest ones, of course, is with all the Italian immigration in the early 1900s, we got the word pizza. But my understanding is the word pizza in Italian literally just means pie. So when you order people used to back in the 50s and 60s go in and say, I'd like to get a pepperoni pizza pie, you're saying, I'd like to get a pie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole funny thing, so. We're saying this now, so we don't have to do it during the discussion. But I will point out specifically the moment where I got into trouble, so.
And he apologized profusely.
Sometimes.
I'll
do it now, just because I have to apologize for the rest of America anyway, so. If this was still, 2019... I remember I saw someone talk about, someone was talking about, kids graduating from college now that are just using ChatGPT and stuff. And they're like, oh man, like if you graduated, in 2022 before all of this exploded, it's like, that's just a completely different era. And I replied, I graduated college in December of 2019. That feels like pre-World War I now. Like it was a different time. So...
Yes, I graduated college in 1976.
Yeah, so... Anywho, we should watch the episode.
Here we go. This isn't a season ender, is it?
No. So sparkly.
I'll be back for dinner. We'll try that anti-gravity restaurant with bibs.
That's a date. Well, not a date. Oh, you know what I mean. Oh, get off. Right. And you be careful. All right?
Taking a big space truck with a bunch of strangers across a diamond planet called Midnight? What could possibly go wrong?
It's time for a vacation.
Earplugs, please.
They call it a sapphire waterfall, but it's no such thing. Sapphire's an aluminium oxide.
It's aluminum, but that's okay.
Well, didn't the subtitle say aluminum?
Yeah. We've got the American release.
Sapphire's an aluminium oxide.
It's aluminum, but whatever.
With iron pigmentation.
You can't fight me on that one.
Hobbs. Professor Winfold Hobbs. I'm the doctor, right?
That's Patrick Troughton's son.
Oh.
Remember from the
Dee Blasco.
Don't bother the man.
From the third Doctor episode that we watched, where he was like the king of the planet, like
Peladon?
Peladon, yeah. That's he was the king of Peladon.
We get slippers.
Jethro, do what your mother says. I'm sitting here. Oh, he's ashamed of us, but he doesn't mind us paying, does he?
Oh, don't you two start. Should I
And that's the star of Merlin.
Look,
I point that out for them more than you.
Plus, for the youngsters, a rare treat. The Animation Archives. 4 hours of fun time. Enjoy.
Modern day, there's too much stimulation.
Buddy boop.
Yeah. Alright, none of that.
4 hours of just sitting here.
Tell you what, We'll have to talk to each other instead.
Ugh, kill me.
He does look a little like his father, doesn't he?
Well,
She needed her own space, as they say. A different galaxy, in fact. I reckon that's enough space, don't you?
Yeah. I never went to a different universe.
I was about to say.
Dee Dee, next slide. It's my pet project. Actually, I'm the first person to research this because, you see,
Put a Beatles wig on him, he'd look exactly like his father.
the history is fascinating.
What did they say? Did they tell you? What is it? What's wrong?
Oh, just stabilizing happens all the time.
I don't need this. I'm on a schedule. This is completely unnecessary.
Back to your seats. Thank you.
With the rescue truck, you'll get back to your schedule faster.
It's just that, well, the air's on a circular filter, so we could stay breathing for 10 years.
There you go.
At the very least, you'd have like 8 hours of air.
What is that?
Someone out there.
Now, don't be ridiculous.
Maybe it's a
Like I
bird.
said, it could be wrong.
It's coming for me. It's coming for me.
The music still works.
Everyone all right?
That Rose.
That's impossible.
What are you talking about? It's the music, clearly.
Fixed. It's not. Torches. Everyone take a torch.
Alright, they're gone.
Sky.
There is no sky. Only Zool.
Are you all right?
She's got a great creepy face.
Why are you repeating?
Why are you repeating?
What is that, learning?
What is that, learning?
Copying?
Copying?
Absorbing?
Absorbing?
Processing it.
You know exactly what I'm going to say. How are you doing that? Roast beef. Bananas. The Medusa Cascade.
Bananas are good.
Bang! Shamble, bobble, dibble, dooble.
This is very
Oh,
scientific.
Doctor, you're so handsome. Yes, I am. Thank you. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O. First she repeats, then she catches up. What's the next stage?
Man, you didn't get to pee, though.
Stage of what? The more we talk, the more she learns. Now I'm all for education, but in this case, maybe not. Let's just move back. Come on, come with me. Everyone get back. Or
Education's not normally creepy.
Dr. Baker, she's not exactly strong. All she's got is our voices. I can't look at her. It's those eyes.
Those are just her eyes, though.
We should throw her out. I beg your pardon. This little bunch of humans. What do you amount to? Murder? Because this is where you decide. You decide who you are. Could you actually murder her? Any of you? Really?
I'd do it.
So would I.
Penny. I think we should.
What?
I want her out.
You can't say that. I'm just traveling. I'm a traveler, that's all.
Like an immigrant. Who were you talking to? Before you got on board, you were talking to someone. Who was that?
Just Donna, just my friend.
And
What were you saying to
He
her?
hasn't even told us his name.
All right, I'm interested. Yes, I can't help it. Because whatever's inside her is brand new, and that's fascinating.
Should be a great time to point out Time Lord of Gallifrey.
All us humans like you're not one of us.
That's what he said. And the wiring. He went into that panel and opened up the wiring.
That was after.
But how did you know what to do?
Because I'm clever. I see. Perhaps you could tell us your name. What does it matter? Then tell us. John Smith. You're real.
He's lying. Look at his face.
Eyes are the same as
Why
hers.
won't you tell us?
It's as simple. You've been lying to us
Just
from the start.
Just someone's called John Smith.
Now listen to me. Come on, listen to me right now.
That's the
because
one
you
time
need
that didn't
me,
work.
All of you. And I'll help you. That's a promise. So, what do you think?
Do we have a deal?
Hold on.
Did she?
She spoke first.
She can't have.
She did.
She spoke first.
She's been saved.
Oh, it was so cold.
It was so cold.
I couldn't breathe.
I couldn't breathe.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I must have scared you so much.
I must have scared you so much.
People are falling for it.
Professor, I'd say, from observation, the doctor can't move. When she was possessed, she couldn't move, so...
Well, there we are then. Now the only
It sounds like
problem we've
science to
got
me.
is this doctor.
It repeats, then it synchronizes, then it goes on to the next stage, and that's exactly what the doctor said would happen.
What, and you're on his side?
No!
Voice is the thing.
And she's the voice. She stole it. Look at her. It's not possessing him, it's draining him.
She's got his voice. That's not true, because it can't be, because I saw it pass into him. I saw it with my own eyes.
So did I.
You did.
See nothing.
From her to him. Throw him out!
Molto bene.
Get him out!
Allons-y.
I want him out!
Allons-y.
That's his voice!
The starlight way.
She's taken his voice! She's taken his voice! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone.
She was a hero.
I said it was her.
Yeah, well, you can say it to your own damn self.
The hostess. What was her name? I don't know.
Right. Never coming here again.
What do you think it was?
No idea.
Can't imagine you without a voice.
Molto bene.
Molto bene.
No, don't do that.
Right.
Don't. Don't.
Alrighty.
A couple of quick things. I do understand why some people might not care for it in that it was overly talky. I mean, that was the whole point.
Yeah.
But not a whole lot of action. You know, out of
It's
a
a-
40-something minute episode,
Yeah.
20 minutes of that is just repetitive talking.
I mean, yeah, it's a good money-saving episode. We just put 8 people in one set and film it there.
I heard echoes of Twilight Zone and Star Trek. Twilight Zone episode, I think it was called Monsters on Maple Street or something like that, where aliens land on the planet Earth and without ever really being seen by the humans, they plant suspicions until the whole town turns on itself and literally starts destroying it, and the aliens basically say it'll be so easy to take over Earth because we're not going to be the problem. They're going to end up destroying themselves. Galileo 7 in the original Star Trek series, 7 people on a stranded shuttlecraft. But a couple of things. First of all, that was, I mean, I know you're saying it wasn't Rose, but it was Rose and she was yelling, "Doctor, doctor." All right. But I'm sure that'll come up again later. I kept wondering, why was it called the Crusader Tours? But when you think about it, the Crusaders were mostly Europeans on their way to reclaim a land that was never theirs in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
And when they got there, they were shocked that the indigenous people of the area, who by that time were mostly Arabs and Turks, but primarily Muslim in faith, didn't want them there. And the Crusades turned out to be a horrible failure because, again, the Europeans could not understand why, because of their religion, Christianity, which was then primarily based in Europe, wasn't allowed to retake the land that they believed belonged to Christianity. doesn't really belong to Christianity. It belongs to all of those religions that started there. But that's beside the point. So that may or may have been the subtle reference to the Crusader tours. There was one other thing I was going to say. I'll get back to it. But anyway. So, yeah, interesting episode.
It's a very experimental episode in its execution, which I think a lot of people enjoy about it. I will say, watching it again, so the reason I didn't like it is because I hate these people. Now, that's the point.
Yes.
But watching it again, I kind of sit here, I'm like, you know what? This is a really, really good, well-done episode. And if I never watch it again in my life, I think I'm going to be fine. Because, oh my god. And maybe, too, because, I watched this in 2019, I think. And if anything, it's kind of like Vengeance on Varos getting more topical. It's like, this is getting worse with every passing year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the... what is the Men in Black quote? A person can be smart, people are stupid. It's like, that's what this episode is. And, and it's... And the thing is, because it's like... I remember the first time watching this and just being like, man, if it's a good thing Donna's not here, because Donna would have just slapped them all around, gotten everything in shape. But that's the point, is that because Donna's not there, it's just the Doctor on his own, and it looks incredibly suspicious to the average person. Now, it is one of those strange times, because how many times have we seen... this Doctor in particular say, I'm a Time Lord from the planet of Gallifrey. Give this whole big thing of who he really is. And yet this is the one time he doesn't do that. And it might have been the one time he benefited from that the most. Because it would have at least given them a basis, because they're just like, well, he's just some traveler, he's just, we don't know who he is, he was talking to that sky woman, he calls us humans like he's not a human, so maybe he's like this creature and stuff, so it's like, it's not enough. And it is also funny that this is the one time where the name John Smith fails, just completely.
Yeah. Now, again, something very subtle is the fact that the hostess was literally by the book, all the way up and down.
Yeah,
we're going to do things by the rules. And they were all criticizing her for that. But in the end, her job was to keep those people safe.
Yeah.
In the absence of the pilot and the mechanic, she's the last person from the company, whatever, Crusader Tours, and it was her job to keep everybody safe. And that literally meant sacrificing herself, because that was her job. That was her duty to do that.
Yeah. And it's, if anything, it's the time that she kind of breaks that a little. I mean, because it's still about keeping them safe, but when she says, well, we should throw it out, maybe we'll throw him out too and stuff, it's like, if anything, that just escalates the problem more, But she does end up saving the day, luckily, hearing at that last second that it is still the Doctor's voice being stolen. So, but yeah, it's also very interesting, because when you start off with the premise of this episode, like, the Doctor and Donna go on vacation, and Donna is not having anything else. She's just sitting by this pool under 15 feet of glass, just relaxing. And the Doctor's going out to see some
Sapphire Waterfall.
Sapphire Waterfall, which is actually made of aluminum, specifically. So, or aluminium, if you want to be like that. Anyway. But yeah, so it's like, it's this interesting thing, because it's like, they're on this vacation, clearly because they were both just traumatized by being at the library. Traumatized by the Vashta Nerada, losing River Song, whom they only just met, and Donna going through this other life within the matrix of the library and stuff, and then they just go here, and it's still, I mean, it's only for the Doctor, Donna doesn't go through this, but it's still this traumatic thing. So,
and I just realized a parallel. Donna going through that entire life where she had a husband and children and separate life. Marvel kind of co-opted that with WandaVision.
Yeah. So. But yeah, and and now we still have no idea what was the creature that possessed Skye. So, but it is such a very simple effect, and it's one of those things, actually, I will say, I kind of miss in Doctor Who, and it's sad to say that this is now old Doctor Who, but I mean, it's nearly 20 years ago, so it kind of is. But, I'm looking at this and it's like, what a simple episode that just does horror so well. Like it's just in this one room, basically, and what is the big villain is an older lady that speaks the exact same things that you're saying, and how effective that is at terrifying you, even to the point of, terrifying them and showing the cornered animal of the human in this case. So
there was one other parallel that I thought they might be going for, and that is when the doctor was essentially becoming possessed. That was vaguely reminiscent of the ending of The Exorcist, where Regan is being possessed by the devil, and Father Karras literally starts punching her, and he says, take me instead, come into me. And the moment the demon comes into him, he turns around and throws himself out the window, which is high up on a hill, and he falls down a flight of steps, ultimately supposedly releasing the demon, and then he dies. So I was thinking, of course the doctor can't die, but I thought they might be doing something where the doctor would try to figure out a way to take the demon into himself and then somehow eject it out back into the atmosphere.
Yeah, so and it is interesting, with the creep factor of it. There's another show I watched that is sort of a medieval fantasy show, and it has demons in it, and I like the portrayal of demons in this show, because they are just bad. Like there have been other shows where it's like, well, there's demons, but they're also just kind of humans too. I mean, you could even say that about like Good Omens as well. It's like, you have demons like Crowley, but is Crowley that bad a guy? I mean, he's pretty bad, but he's not the worst of them, But with this show, when they talk about demons, it's just like, no, they are more or less just hunting animals. And one of the things they talk about is the reason that they can speak, they've adopted human language and human kind of appearance, is all to lure humans in so that they can hunt. They, a lot of times when they kill a demon, it will ask for its mother or something, and they straight up ask one of them as it's dying, it's like, why do you say that? Demons don't have mothers. And they just say, because that's what you say to make humans not kill you anymore. And I feel like it is kind of here where it's like, this creature is sort of taking on these human traits, taking the speech, until eventually it starts talking before the doctor. And if anything, that is just luring the humans into accepting it. Like they were all ready to just throw the doctor out and accept that, oh, Skye's healed. They saw it with their own eyes that it passed from her into the doctor. They didn't see anything. They are just panicked beyond belief. They're just a normal couple and a professor and a kid and stuff, but it's like you're just seeing what you want to see, because now this creature has taken on enough human qualities to appear normal, relatively speaking.
And what you said also reminded me of another Star Trek episode, The Devil in the Dark, where you have this creature that can literally bore through solid rock and is apparently killing human miners until it is wounded, and Spock does the mind meld with it and realizes it's not killing the miners because it wants to kill them, it's killing the miners because the miners are killing its children. And it's that thing of one of the prime directives of Starfleet is, you cannot interfere. And they basically say, we cannot kill this creature simply because the creature is not like us. The doctor said, this is a brand new species that no one has ever seen before. No one's ever been on this planet before. So you cannot get rid of it until we understand it.
Yeah, I mean, it's because you're right. They're all like, well, we could throw her out or do something, and he's like, yeah, well, it's a new form of life, and it's sort of that balancing thing, because the doctor is right. It is could be a brand new form of life, and we can't just kill it and stuff, and we should have these morals. On the other hand, on their hand is this thing seems to be threatening us. But at the same time, it wasn't even really threatening you. It was sitting there and just repeating what everyone was saying. But, it seems to be this great threat, so what do you do about it? But it's the difference of, I don't know, like, if you change this, if it was just, I don't know, a wolf or some sort of predator animal, it's like, well, would it be the same thing? Do you... I guess it's the question of, do you kill the wolf that attacks your sheep, or do you try to just get rid of the wolf, without killing it, Yeah. But it is something, but it is similar of like, we can't just kill this creature. We don't know what it is. We don't know how it's doing any of this. Plus, even if we could kill this new life form, there's also Skye on top of it, who would be caught in the crossfire. Is she dead or not at this point? Is she long gone? And, if we throw her out, it's essentially killing 2 lives at once. So, which unfortunately, that ended up happening anyway. We killed 3 lives at once because the hostess had to throw her out.
But they said that it would destroy Mrs. Silvestri's body. But would the entity survive because it had survived before? So that's left ambiguous.
Yeah, because I mean it's left ambiguous because they say, the professor says many, many times that nothing can survive on midnight. But you're right that it's like if you throw out the body will completely perish, will turn to dust. But would that just leave the entity there? And if it does, would it then just keep going the way it was? If anything, would it then just get up and attack again? So, and that's why they leave it ambiguous, is it still out there at the end of this?
But the doctor does say something. They had mentioned how the entire Pleasure Palace had been lowered from space, and he was basically saying they're going to have to put it back up again.
Yeah, it's like he's putting a quarantine on this planet to never come here, so...
Talos 4.
Yeah, so...
Obscure Star Trek reference.
Yeah, so, but it is definitely, there was actually another episode similar to this, well, technically 2 episodes similar to this recently, but there was an episode recently where I was like, that was a really, really good, well-written episode, and I never want to watch it again in my life. And having now watched this for a second time finally, over 6 years later, I can confirm it is a very good episode. I will come around on that. But it is a really tough watch.
Yeah.
It's great, and they all act it very well. David Tennant is very, very good in this episode, but it is really hard to watch. And it is one of those things, like, only Doctor Who could kind of get away with this, because you can pare down the cast so much to where it's like, it's just the main character, and then, this group of tourists that are on this place. There's not... You couldn't really do that on Star Trek too much, because it's like, well... Like, the most you could do is, like, well, if there was a mission, but normally if there's a mission, there's 2 people. Like, if this was, I don't know, Data and Riker from The Next Generation, it's like, but that would already, well, first off, they would have the credentials of being from Starfleet, and second, if a second person is there, this whole plotline falls apart. It's like we said, if Donna was there, this wouldn't have happened. But, I don't know, I will at least give the credit that this is a plot that kind of only Doctor Who and I guess maybe the Twilight Zone could do.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we've got 3 episodes left of this season, actually, and I will kind of admit we are doing something kind of similar to last season, that we're going to get a quasi three-parter. How we had the Utopia episode, which ended with the reveal of the Master and then going into the 2-part finale. We are kind of doing something similar to that here. And I think what we'll probably do for the specific 2-part finale is keep that 2 separate videos, because I think that still works a bit better. But for other 2-parters like we did last time, we'll put those in the same episode. So, but next episode is another really, really fondly regarded episode. So,
okie dokie.
You got anything else?
I got nothing.
Then that is basically it with all of that being said, we're Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films, and we will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of our modern Doctor Who reactions, as well as another video for every Doctor Who video that's on the channel. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.